maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a blessing. Maybe there's something that I need to know from a setback, a challenge, or a failure. And I'm here to tell you that I have had setbacks, challenges, failures that truly and quite possibly could have destroyed me. It's going to take courage, it's going to take strength, and it's going to take things that you might not feel possible. I am ready. I want to make the power shift, and I want to start living a life full of passion, purpose, and fulfillment. What you desire, you deserve. When we know that we aren't alone and there's other people who have gone through very similar situations, it makes it possible for us to say, it's possible for me too. The magic and the beauty is from all of us doing life imperfectly. It's turning your mess into a message and saying, like, I have had this happen and I am here to understand that it really truly is redirecting me into the life that I desire. And when you say those words out loud, you're kind of like, wow, if I can have something like a terrible setback or a terrible challenge or a terrible failure happen, but rewire it to say that then there's the power shift to say, what is on the other side of this redirect? Because I promise you that there is always going to be one. Hey, and welcome to the Power Shift. I'm your host, Maggie, and I am super excited to bring you this episode. It is the very first episode, so I really want to give you exactly what you can expect with listening to the Power Shift and why exactly I felt called to start this podcast in the first place. So I am here to tell you that dreams do come true. I really was never much of a dreamer, but there was a part of me that has always wanted to be a speaker, someone who is leading, motivating, and inspiring people to show up in the world, to live a life full of passion, purpose, and fulfillment. And for a long time out of my life, I was not really living that. And so I really had this calling and this deep desire to be able to share my story along with other people's stories so that you can understand that life doesn't usually happen exactly how we might have planned it. We might have seen it going. And I'm here to tell you that as long as you can make the power shift to say to yourself, maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a blessing. Maybe there's something that I need to know from a setback, a challenge, or a failure. So, throughout the journey of the Power Shift podcast, we're going to peel back the layers of my story and along with other guests so that you truly can feel that you are not alone. You will be able to hear the real, the raw, and relatable stories from other women who have made the power shift, who have chosen instead of to let the setbacks, the challenges, and the failures destroy us, we have allowed them to redirect us to the bigger picture, the more exciting future, the one we might have never, ever, ever thought possible, but it happens when you start to change the narrative around certain things that happen to you, right? We have to rewire that. It's not that these things are happening to you, they are happening for you to be guided into the next version of yourself, into the next level life that you are trying to create for yourself. And I'm here to tell you that I have had setbacks, challenges, failures that truly and quite possibly could have destroyed me for the rest of my life, but I have chosen to make the power shift and continue to show up for myself on a whole new level. And so that's why the power shift has been brought to life, is so that through the challenges and through the setbacks and through the failures, there truly does lie beauty and opportunities if you make the shift. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's going to take courage, it's going to take strength, and it's going to take things that you might not feel possible. But by hearing other people's unique stories, unique journeys, and the way that they have truly shifted their perspective on life situations like the setbacks, the challenges, and the failures, they're able to take that silver lining and be redirected into the life of beauty. So we all kind of know that life can be a little bit chaotic. It can be a little bit strange. It can be a little bit unfair at times. And I'm here to tell you that each and every one of our stories is very unique to our own journey and our own path, but we're in similar situations. And there's so many similarities in life that through the stories that you will hear on this podcast, you will be able to relate in some way or another and be able to truly say to yourself, I am ready. I want to make the power shift and I want to start living a life full of passion, purpose, and fulfillment. So I want you to think about this for a second because I actually just heard this the other day or the last week, and I have literally been saying it to myself and probably all over social media. So if you follow me, you might have already heard this. But what you desire, you deserve. Now, I want you to think on that for a second because a lot of times we have desires, we have wishes, we have dreams, we have hopes, and we almost maybe don't know where they're coming from. And so I want you to remind yourself that anytime that you have a desire for something else in your life, whether that be a new relationship, a new job, a new opportunity, any of those things, that desire is coming from a place that you know you deserve to have in your life. And so hearing that from others, you're going to also be able to step into that for yourself. And you're going to say, wow, what I desire, I deserve. And then it's going to make it easier for you to make your own power shifts, for you to be expanding in your own life. And so I'm super excited for you to learn more about my story, learn more about where I have come from, what has happened for me. And in that moment of it happening to me, I was like, why? Why are these happening? Why is this happening? Why is this? What is happening? But if you continue to say that, the universe is going to still say to you, okay, well, if you want more, I'm going to give you more. Instead of saying this is happening for me and look for that silver lining, look for the redirect, you will find the beauty that lies on the other side. There's such a bigger, brighter picture on the other side. And so I encourage you to start rewiring your brain around setbacks, challenges, and failures because they really truly are here to redirect us to a beautiful life. And I'm here as proof. And you will hear from many of my guests that they are proof that when life has happened for them, there really truly has been a different blessing, a different way of thinking about life. And they really truly are living a more purpose, more fulfilling, and more passion life. And so I'm encouraging you to stay tuned, to listen to all of the stories that are coming and that could be really, truly life-changing for you. Because I think when we know that we aren't alone and there's other people who have gone through very similar situations, it makes it possible for us to say, it's possible for me too. And so really that is one of the biggest reasons as to why I am doing this podcast is because I want you to be able to look at your life in a very different lens or a perspective. Almost take yourself away from your own life and look around and see all the other people in the world who have gone through situations very similar to the ones that maybe you have, or similar enough that you can relate, and then understand that the magic and the beauty is from all of us doing life imperfectly. It's turning your mess into a message and saying, like, I have had this happen, and I am here to understand that it really truly is redirecting me into the life that I desire. And when you say those words out loud, you're kind of like, wow, if I can have something like a terrible setback or a terrible challenge or a terrible failure happen, but rewire it to say that then there's the power shift to say, what is on the other side of this redirect? Because I promise you that there is always going to be one. And so that's why I have started this podcast so that you can sit back and listen and truly dive into other people's journeys and other people's life that they have decided to make the shift, make the possibilities come true. The opportunities start to fall into place when you understand that the redirect is there for the beauty of what's on the other side. And so I really want to kind of just dive in a little bit about who I am and really why some of this is coming out now is because I have had a very long journey of kind of feeling like, is this as good as it gets? Is this why I'm living? And so I am still to this day making power shifts. And I'm here to tell you that you will always be making power shifts. It's just how do you figure out when to make the power shift? Because no time is going to be the right time. And you might have to have a challenge or a setback or a failure or something to really truly say, hello, wake up. It's time to make the power shift. And so I'll give you a little short into the story because we are going to really dive into some other layers. But my journey truly began after I found out about my parents getting a divorce and holding in some things that I didn't want to tell my mom because I didn't want to hurt her. But in the long run, it actually really, really started to hurt me. I was holding on to pain and things that I really shouldn't have held on to. And at the age of like 21 or 22, it really wasn't something I needed to hold on. So that was the beginning of it. And I actually just expressed this to my mom last weekend, you know, around, I think this was the true start of this journey. And so I had that happen and I held on to it. And then I got into some big trouble because I started drinking a lot and I started um, making some really poor decisions. And I had a lot of time to think to myself because I got a DUI. And this is where the true journey for me started was this is happening for me, not to me. And the reason why it happened for me is because it happened in such a way that was very unique. I wasn't driving my car. Um, and so I had driven there, but I had gotten to a safe place, let's just say. And knowing that I got a DUI and I had a very long sentencing because it was a very bad DUI. I was very heavily intoxicated. But that was when that true happening for me happened, is because I could have been driving. I could have killed myself. I could have killed a family. I could have killed, a dog. I could have really, really impacted a community of people. And that was really where my story started, was the DUI and realizing that it could have been an absolute disaster. If it had happened in a completely different way. So it sucked. It was terrible. It was really, really, really expensive. but I had to learn my lesson that way. And in that lesson, there became the blessing of what now? What can I go do now? And so I really started to figure out how to not behave that way. And I was actually just explaining this to some high school kids that a lot of times we don't realize that things kind of happen to us over and over and over again until we actually learn the lesson. And so I'm here to tell you that learn the lesson the hard way, but learn it and move forward from it. And then that kind of tumbled me into some kind of weird space, right? I was really longing for love and attention. I felt really less than. I felt like I had made a really, really, really terrible mistake. And in walked Prince Charming. So this is kind of the second layer of the story. And like I said, we're going to peel back the layers of these and get really in depth to it. But for the time being, I just wanted to say that then that was when I was truly swept off of my feet at 24 years old and felt as if I was on cloud nine. I had met somebody who was promising me the world, who had this vision and this excitement around life and all the things that you have when you first start a relationship. And for me, it was one of those things that I got really, really excited about. I thought, wow, this is it. This is so exciting. You know, an older guy, he's got money, he's got all these things. Well, lo and behold, it was a complete lie. It was a complete manipulation. It was all the things that we will go into in a little bit deeper of an episode. But I fell into that because I was searching for something after a setback or a challenge or a failure in my life. And I hadn't really truly gained the true knowledge. I hadn't made the power shift yet, right? I was just kind of searching or longing for something. And then I stumbled into a very, very toxic 10-year long relationship that I want to say from the very beginning was an absolute disaster. And for some reason or another, it happened for me. And I believe that that's another power shift that has happened in my life, that I have looked at the blessing in the way I allowed him to treat me for 10 years is exactly why I am here today sharing my story. So it felt like crap. And I felt like I had allowed something to happen to me for 10 years, 10 years of lies, cheat, manipulation, deceit, all the things, not to mention lawsuits, not to mention all kinds of things that I got myself wrapped into. It happened for me. It happened for me to make the power shift in saying, I need to reclaim my life. I need to step into a new version of me. I need me back, is really what happened. I had lost my entire self. I had lost my confidence, my self worth, my dignity, my pride. I mean, I lost pretty much my morals, even. I was in such a bad place, but I allowed it to happen. And I think it happened for me. It happened for me to be able to have the courage and the strength to start this podcast. It had me to the courage and the strength to become a self-development and mindset coach for other women to help them understand that making the power shifts in your life are really there to direct you into the bigger, the better, the more magnificent picture. And so that was kind of the last major power shift that I had, um, that we'll talk about in this episode. But that's really why I wanted to have this podcast. And that's a little bit about who I am and why I'm where I'm at right now and why I have such a passion to have women stand in their power, be authentically them, be unapologetic about what it is that you truly deserve and desire in your life, because remind yourself of that one sentence. It really could be a life-changing sentence for you. What you desire, you deserve. And so I just really wanted to share that a little bit around that, because I think a lot of times we think everybody has it all figured out. Everybody knows what's going on, and everybody has their passion, and everybody has their joy, and everybody has the fulfillment. But the real magic is that absolutely no one knows. And if you know somebody who has it all figured out, will you please introduce them to me? Because I would love to interview them on the podcast and just say, like, well, how the heck did you do it? How did you truly figure it all out? And how are you so aligned and so perfect? Because I'm here to tell you that absolutely nothing in this world is perfect. And that brings me to kind of conclude this first episode is why I feel like I am kind of unique is because I have truly felt as if from probably the age of, I don't know, probably 5, if I could pinpoint a time, I have had a setback, then I've recovered, then I've had a failure, then I've recovered, then I've had a really big challenge. And I feel like I'm that student of hard knocks, that person, that kid that was kind of like, gosh darn it, why can't I get ahead? Why can't I figure this all out? Why does my brother seem to have it all and he seems to get away with things and why can't I? And so I feel like the uniqueness and the reason why I feel like this podcast will be very unique is because I have had so many things that have happened for me, not to me, but they've happened for me to be able to share from a really deep-hearted perspective and allow you a safe place for you to know that through the challenges and the failures, even if they were back when you were 5 years old, and now you're, let's say you're my age, 39, or maybe you're even 40, you realize that those are happening for you to redirect you into a beautiful new opportunity, a new life, a new passion, a new purpose, something that will help you feel fulfilled in your life. And so I just encourage you to continue to follow this journey of the Power Shift podcast. I am super excited to dive into some mindset tips, some tricks, some self-development stuff, but also truly show you and allow you into my life so that you can truly see that no matter the setback, no matter the challenge, and no matter the failure, as long as you dust yourself off, you get yourself back up and you try again, life will start to align you with the opportunity that is truly meant for you. So, thank you so much for tuning in, and I can't wait for the next episode. Bye.